Welcome to the Inspiring Tech Leaders podcast with me, Dave Roberts. Big tech has been making headlines again this week. Apple, a company known for its strong stance on encryption, has taken the unprecedented step by removing its highest level of data security, advanced data protection, for UK users. So why is this happening? The UK government has demanded access to user data under the Investigatory Powers Act. Apple refused to comply with the backdoor request, so instead they've pulled the feature altogether. So what does this mean for privacy, security, and tech companies worldwide? There's a lot to delve into, but let's start with the basics. Advanced Data Protection, or ADP, is Apple's opt-in security feature that uses end-to-end encryption, meaning only the user can access their iCloud data, not even Apple can see it. However, earlier this month, the UK government issued a request under the Investigatory Powers Act, commonly known as the Snoopers Charter, asking for the ability to access this encrypted data. But rather than complying, Apple chose to remove ADP from the UK entirely. Apple's position on encryption has always been clear: there are no backdoors. They said they have never built a backdoor or master key to any of their products or services, and they never will. Their decision to withdraw advanced data protection in the UK rather than compromise encryption shows just how seriously they take the issue. Unfortunately, this weakens security for UK users as a whole. So what's the UK government's justification? Law enforcement and child protection groups argue that encrypted services make it harder to track criminals and prevent crimes like terrorism or child exploitation. Tech companies like Apple should realize that while privacy is important, we should also have the means to fight terrorism or those offenders who groom or manipulate children undetected. The challenge we face is that any backdoor created by law enforcement could eventually be exploited by hackers or other bad actors. There are wider issues to consider though. The US Senate are now being called to reconsider its intelligence sharing agreements with the UK over this issue. It would seem that the UK government have not considered the wider implications this could cause for the country and actually the whole globe. So where do we draw the line between privacy and security? Well, this isn't Apple's first fight over encryption. In 2016, they refused the FBI's request to unlock an iPhone, arguing that creating a backdoor would weaken the security for all users. The problem we have is that if Apple conceded to the UK government, that other governments would want the same level of access. This rapidly becomes a global issue and blurs the lines between democratic allies and authoritarian states, who might gain access and who might not. At the same time, critics argue that Apple's decision sets a dangerous precedent. Should tech companies really have the power to withdraw security features instead of cooperating with governments? So, if you're in the UK, what does this mean for your digital security? Well, as of Friday the 21st of February, advanced data protection on iPhones, iPads and Macs will no longer be available for new users. Existing users' access will be disabled at a later date, which is still yet to be specified. Your iCloud backups will no longer be fully encrypted, meaning Apple and law enforcement agencies with a warrant can access them. FaceTime and iMessage will remain end-to-end encrypted, but the broader implications are clear. UK users now have less control over their data than users in other countries. And as a result, this could make UK users more vulnerable to cyber threats. Weakening encryption doesn't just affect law enforcement, it actually makes everyone less safe. Where do we go from here? Apple says it's hopeful it can restore ADP in the UK one day, but for now, the decision raises bigger questions. Should governments have the power to force tech companies to weaken security? Are privacy and security truly at odds, or can they coexist? And what happens next? Will other governments follow the UK's lead, or will tech companies push back harder? I would love to hear from you. Should Apple have removed ADP, or should they have complied with the UK government's request? If you've enjoyed today's episode of the Inspiring Tech Leaders, don't forget to subscribe or leave a review. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in tech.